Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Shema Shai. We back again, with the Maccabee brothers. We're on fire, the real Black history, part 2. Going into chapter 6 of First Maccabees, just getting some more history on our forefathers, because a lot of people don't know who the Maccabees brothers is. Hey, that's crazy. We never was taught that. We was never taught about our history. And I used to wonder why I'm in history class, why am I falling asleep in history class? Because I'm not getting taught my history. Just imagine if we got taught our history in class. History would be interesting. Like, you wouldn't even be going to sleep in history class. You would be ready to go to history class. You would be taking your notes. It'll make you feel good to hear about stuff like this that we reading, man. Because this is actually history. This stuff really actually happened, man. What we finna get into. All these different wars that the Bible get into that our people was fighting in, these are actual wars that actually happened. Like, we always hear about World War I, World War II, World War III, Pearl Harbor, you know what I'm saying? French, the British. We hear about those wars, but we don't never hear about the wars that our men was fighting in. We don't never hear about none of those wars. So these are our wars right here in a time in history that we not taught about in school. That's not taught about in school. This is what it's talking about, man. These are real people. Antiochus, Salakia, Philip, the Macedonian. These are all real people. Judas Maccabees, right? These are all real people that actually existed throughout history. So we finna get into, and this is so-called Black history because these are our people, man. You know what I'm saying? This was the biggest, because these brothers were Levites, which are so-called Haitians, right? And this we hear about the Haitian Revolution. How you had, I can't remember how many Haitians it was that did a slave revolt against the so-called white man, but they said that's the biggest slave revolt in history from our people, but it's really not. Hey, when you read First Maccabees, this was the biggest slave revolt. You know what I'm saying? Because our people was actually, getting ravished, was getting everything snatched from them, and was in a low state. We was so called in slavery under these heathen. So brothers stood up, you know what I'm saying, and had a plan, and they made something happen. So this was the biggest slave revolt in history that's not talked about at all. We finna get into it. We finna get into what our forefathers was doing. It was very, very mighty men. So we finna get this thing going. First Maccabees chapter 6. Get a little bit of history. First Maccabees.
You can't hear your volume cut out.
Hear me now?
Come.
We're gonna stop at 46. Now 63 chapters if brothers want to get into it, but we're gonna stop at 46, man, because I think that stops, or that's the part I really want is 46, but we're gonna stop at that. We're gonna start at 1, I mean. So like,
Come on. This is the book of Maccabees, chapter 1. I mean, so like the first book of Maccabees, chapter 6. About that time, King Antiochus, traveling through the high countries, heard say that Elamites in the country of Persia was a city greatly renowned for riches, silver, and gold, and that there was in it a very rich temple, wherein were coverings of gold and breastplates and shields, which Alexander, son of Philip, the
Macedonia.
Macedonian king who reigned first among the Grecians, had left there. Wherefore he came and sought to take the city and to spoil it, but he was not able, because they of the city, having had warning thereof, rose up against him in battle. So he fled and departed thence with great heaviness and returned to Babylon. Moreover, there came one who brought him tidings of Persia, that the armies which went against the land of Judea were put to flight, and that Lysias, who went forth first with a great power, was driven away of the Jews, and they that were made strong by the armor and power and store of spoils which they had gotten of the armies whom they had destroyed, Also, that they had pulled down the abomination which he had set up upon the altar in Jerusalem, and that they had compassed about the sanctuary with high walls as before, and his city Bethsur.
So right there, we talked about that in chapter 5, how we had the heathen had came into our sanctuary and defiled it, did all type of crazy stuff to our sanctuary, so we had to build it back up. That's talked about more in chapter 5. So I just want to bring that back up to let people know if you ain't. It talks more about it in First Maccabees chapter 5 about the sanctuary.
Come So like now when definitely towards the end of chapter 5.
Mm-hmm.
Now when the king heard those words, he was astonished and sore moved, whereupon he laid him down upon his bed and fell sick for grief because it had not befallen him as he looked for. And
So
there,
so the king basically, um, if people went, that's why you got to read. When you got to get into it, they the heathen hated us, man. Still to this day, they hate us, and they literally prayed on our downfall. And every time we went every time things went good on our end, it's bad on their end. So when you read verse 8 again, it said, "Now when the king heard these words," so the king hearing how how we doing, how we going crazy in this thing, how the Jews standing 10 toes, how we built our temple, how we built our sanctuary back up that they defiled. It said, now when the king heard these words, he was astonished and sore moved, whereupon he laid him down upon his bed and fell sick for grief, because it had not befallen him as he looked for. So this man was like literally sick to hear that we prospering. He literally he literally was sick to hear, oh, them Jews, bro, them Israelites, bro, but they done built their sanctuary back up. He thought it was gonna be over with. He thought we were just gonna leave it alone, but we built the sanctuary back up, and he couldn't handle that. He fell sick on his bed, crying, mourning, because we didn't stay down like he thought we would be. But you got it.
gone. Wherefore he called for all his friends and said unto them, the sleep is gone from mine eyes, and my heart faileth for very care. And I thought of myself, into what tribulation am I come, and how great a flood of misery is it, wherein now I am, for I was bountiful and beloved in my power. But now I remember the evils that I did at Jerusalem, and that I took all the vessels of gold and silver that were therein, and sent to destroy the inhabitants of Judea without a cause. I perceive, therefore, that for this cause these troubles are come upon me, and behold, I perish through great grief in a strange land.
Right. So this man going through it. This man finna die in grief because of what the Jews are doing. This king finna literally cry himself to death, mourn himself to death. That's really going on, man, because the other nations got a perpetual hatred towards the Israelites, man. They literally hate your guts, and you're gonna keep reading on how much they hate your guts, and how much of what we're looking for, how much they hate your guts, and how powerful we are when we on one accord under the Most High God. You're gonna start seeing that when you keep reading on how powerful we was when we under one accord under the Most High God. You're gonna see that.
I was trying to, I was trying to see what word you talk about, but wasn't that coming to mind.
Come on, I couldn't think of it either.
Verse 14. Then called he for Philip, one of his friends, whom he made ruler over all his realm, and gave him the crown and his robe and his signet, to the end he should bring up his son Antiochus and nourish him up for the kingdom. So King Antiochus died there in the 149th year. He died of grief.
He died in grief. That'd be a terrible way to die, man. Like, just imagine this how it was. He had a plan. He already had a plan in his mind on how he wanted us to be destroyed. How he had plans. He already thought about it. this what I want to happen to the Israelites, and this was going to happen to the Israelites. He probably was drinking wine, eating some food, chilling. He thought that was going to actually happen. That he what he thought about in his mind, but when it didn't, when it happened, the complete opposite. He thought we was going to die, but we ended up killing all them soldiers, right, and building our sanctuary back up. That's when he started grieving, and that's when he started mourning and being, upset because his plan didn't turn out like he thought it would be. And he ended up dying in his grief. Think about that. Think about dying in your grief. That's exactly what he did. But you got it.
Khan. Now, when Lysias knew that the king was dead, he set up Antiochus, his son, whom he had brought up being young to reign in his stead, and his name he called Eupator.
Mm.
About this time, they that were in the tower shut up the Israelites round about the sanctuary, and sought always their hurt and the strengthening of the heathen. Wherefore, Judas, proposing to destroy them, called all the people together to besiege them. So they came together and besieged him in the 150th year, and he made mounts for shot against them and other engines.
So he kind of besieged me like, don't mean like come together or get over
Overtake basically.
con,
Like it means like to set roundabout, like to um overtake, if I'm not mistaken.
con.
Yeah, but set roundabouts, surround, shut off, block.
Yeah, so
Um,
Judas was like, man, they tried to, they basically coming at us, but Judas, he already one step ahead of them, like, but nah, we finna let's gather them up. You know what I'm saying? They coming at us, and let's come at them. So that's basically what our forefather Judas was saying,
Con.
and they did it. They made it happen.
And they went unto the king and said, how long will it be ere thou execute judgment and avenge our brethren? Hold on. Verse 21. Can't skip verse 21.
Can't.
Howbeit, certain of them that were besieged got forth, unto whom some ungodly men of Israel joined themselves. And they went unto the king and said, how long will it be ere thou execute judgment and avenge our brethren? We have been willing to serve thy father and to do as he would have us and to obey his commandments. For which cause they of our nation besiege the tower and are alienated from us. Moreover, as many of us as they could light on, they slew and spoiled our inheritance. Neither have they stretched out their hand against us only, but also against their borders. And behold, this day are they besieging the tower of Jerusalem to take it. The sanctuary also and Bethsura have they fortified.
So these are really coons. Am I right?
Definitely right. Big con.
These
Don't
are
get
literally coons, man.
worldwide.
Sold out on they people. This was getting into like we think coons have the term coon or the people that's acting like coons. We think that term just came about in like the 1980s, the 1970s, 1960s. No, that term the a brothers been doing coonish acts since the beginning of time, man. You literally had brothers um turn on their brothers, man. You have Israelite men, it said ungodly Israelites. They left Judas Maccabees and they left their people to go serve the heathen and telling the heathen everything that we plan on doing.
Yep.
Wicked, man. You know this side of people because you have a lot of our people do that in today's time,
Yep.
playing so-called two-face, uh, going to kiss a so-called white man butt. You know what I'm saying? That that's our people, man. They love Esau.
Mhm.
They love Esau more than they love their people. That's exactly what's going on right here. Matter of fact, can you reread 21 on down when it was getting into it, Baba Kashab? It says certain ungodly men of Israel joined themselves. So just imagine them going to the heathen, joining themselves with them. They done left their laws, statutes, and commandments and left their God to go serve the heathen's God and keep his commandments. That's madness.
Howbeit, certain of them that were besieged got forth, unto whom some ungodly men of Israel joined themselves. And they went unto the king and said, how long will it be ere thou execute judgment and avenge our brethren?
They basically saying, how long would it going to the heathen to ask the heathen, how long is it gonna be that you execute judgment and avenge our brother? They hate their own people, man. They hate their own people. Hate them with a perpetual hatred. Coons, man. Sambos. But you got it.
We have been willing to serve thy father and to do as he would have us and obey his commandments. For which cause they of our nation besieged the tower and are alienated from us. Moreover, as many of us as they could light on, they slew and spoiled our inheritance. Neither have they stretched out their hand against us only, but also against their borders. And behold, this day are they besieging the tower of Jerusalem to take it. The sanctuary also and Bethsura have they fortified. Wherefore, if thou dost not prevent them quickly, they will do the greater things than these, neither shalt thou be able to rule them. Now, when the king heard this, he was angry, and gathered together all his friends and the captains of his army and those that had charge of the horse.
Now
There
it's finna
came
get Slacky Bay. Now it's finna get now y'all finna see what's now y'all finna see what's going on, man. It's finna get real. But you got it.
there came also unto him from other kingdoms and from isles of the sea bands of hired soldiers, so that the number of his army was 100,000 footmen and 20,000 horsemen and 230 elephants exercised in battle.
Slacky. So you can't tell me this don't remind you of Black Panther, bro. When they got but they said they got hired so he said there came unto him from other kingdoms and from isles of the sea. So you had people coming from other kingdoms and from sea to sea, and they hire soldiers. They really so that's what they do. They hire soldiers, so that's their job to fight. They train men. And it says so that verse 30, so that the number of his army was 100,000 footmen and 20,000 horsemen and 230 elephant exercised in battle. So they had animals on their side too. And if, when you watch Black Panther, they had rhinos though. Yeah, all those people fighting, but they had instead of elephants in Black Panther, they had rhinos. So so-called white man, he get his stories from the Bible, man. He switch up stuffs. He switch up he switch it up a little bit, but most of the stuff he get is from the Bible. These wars actually happened. These men had just imagine seeing this many people. Just imagine seeing 100,000 men coming to war against you. Not just that, 230 elephants. Got armor on the elephants. They big. You got the people riding on the elephants coming against you. This remind me of the Avengers or something. Endgame, Avengers Endgame, or Infinity War, one of them. Endgame. It remind me of Endgame. But you got it, man. This stuff actually happened, man. But they ain't gonna tell us this though, because this show our greatness, and they don't want you to know that you come from greatness. So they ain't gonna tell you about this side of your history. They're just gonna tell you about the same people every Black History Month, but they're not gonna tell you about your people, your ancestors that's in this Bible right here. But you got it.
Con 31. These went through Idumea and pitched against Bethsura, which they assaulted many days, making engines of war. But they of Bethsura came out and burned them with fire and fought valiantly. Upon this, Judas removed from the tower and pitched in Beth Zacharias over against the king's camp.
All right. I've been say Judas just hey, so Judas basically just chilling right now. Him and his army just chilling right now.
Then the king, rising very early, marched fiercely with his host towards Beth Zacharias, where his armies made them ready to battle and sounded the trumpets. And to the end that they might provoke the elephants to fight, they shewed them the blood of grapes and mulberries. Moreover, they divided the beast among the armies, and for every elephant they appointed 1,000 men. armed with coats of mail and with helmets of brass on their heads. And beside this, for every beast were ordained 500 horsemen of the best.
Them boy, hey, that was real, man. That was definitely something serious that was going. Our man was really going to war against so-called Thanos, man. You know what I'm saying? This was a lot of people, a lot of people, and they had animals involved as well. And they said they made them the war by showing them. They said they showed them blood of grapes and mulberries. So they showed them that to make the elephants basically in fight mode, to get in fight mode. And they come to war against the Israelites. Judas
Basically, showed them
Maccabees.
some food.
Yeah, he said what?
Showed them some food, like you show a dog a treat, he'll get right.
Yeah, fast. They showed them this. Hey, look, you get this if you go get them. You get these berries, and you go get them. Now the elephants locked in. They're trying to kill us. We the target. But let's see how we handle this situation, man. Let's see how the Israelites, the so-called black people, the real Jews, see how they handle this situation.
36. These were ready at every occasion, wheresoever the beast was, and whithersoever the beast went, they went also, neither departed they from him. And upon the beast were there strong towers of wood, which covered every one of them, and were girt fast unto them with devices. There were also upon every one 32 strong men that fought upon them, beside the Indian that ruled him. As for the remnant of the horsemen, they set them on this side and that side at the two parts of the host, giving them signs what to do and being harnessed all over amidst the ranks. Now, when the sun shone upon the shields of gold and brass, the mountains glistered therewith and shone like lamps of fire. So, part of the king's army being spread upon the high mountains and part of the valleys below, they marched on safely and in order.
Mm,
Wherefore,
you got it.
Wherefore all that heard the noise of the multitude and the marching of the company and the rattling of the harness were moved, for the armor was very great and mighty.
So you had
Then
like, it's like it. So they was lit like they was making stuff shake, man. It said, wherefore all that heard the noise of that multitude and the marching, verse 41, and the marching of the company and the rattling of the harness were moved, for the army was very great and mighty. So there was an order, there was marching, and there was shaking stuff. Like you heard them coming. You heard them coming. There was a mighty big army. The Lord don't deal with numbers. You got it.
Then Judas and his host drew near and entered into battle, and there were slain of the king's army 600 men. Eleazar also, surnamed Savarin, perceiving that one of the beasts armed with royal harness was higher than all the rest, and supposing that the king was upon him, put himself in jeopardy to the end that he might deliver his people and give him a perpetual name.
Look. So man, this man right here, my Eleazar man, and he ended up getting that name that he wanted. Cause think about it, we reading about him in First Maccabees, getting that name that he wanted. So basically, he's saying, um, the beast that he was the elephant. What the king he was supposing that the king was gonna be on there. So he basically finna go out like a so-called G in the society. They'll say he a G. He finna go out. He know he finna die, man. He finna risk his life for his brothers, man. He go out like a soldier. When you keep reading on Eleazar, he go out like a soldier, man. Let me I got it, babe. Let me get this. Let me start that. I'm finna reread 43. He said Eleazar also surnamed Severin, perceiving that one of the beasts armed with royal harness was higher than all the rest, and supposing that the king was upon him, put himself in jeopardy. He put himself in jeopardy. He risked his life, basically, to the end he might deliver his people and get him a perpetual name. Wherefore he ran upon him courage, just
Courageously,
courageously.
courageously, courageously.
Salakia, through the midst of the battle. So he basically just imagine this man running through the midst of the battle, like he running through the midst of everybody fighting, slaying on the right hand and slaying on the left hand, so that they were divided from him on both sides. So this man literally slaying people on the right hand side of him. He in the rerunning now, slaying people on the right hand side of him. He also slaying people on the left hand side of him in the midst of war. So he going crazy right now. He in that spirit. Well, he finna risk his life, but he finna get a name. I'm finna do a courageous act so I can get my name remembered throughout history. And that's the beautiful thing, man. To want to have a name or for people to remember you by something good. Like you went out like a soldier, people gonna remember you. But if if we finna get ready for war and you turn around and go home because you're scared, nobody not gonna remember you. You're not gonna be remembered, but you will get remembered for doing a courageous act, and that's something that he's doing. He's going in the middle of the war, slaying people on his right hand side and on his left hand side for his brothers. And it said, verse 46, which done, he crept under the elephant. So now this man done crept under that elephant that he was talking about, that the biggest elephant that was out there. He's under him now and thrust him under. So he thrust the elephant through and slew him, whereupon the elephant fell down upon him, and there he died. So this man went out like a soldier, man. He risked his life for his brothers. He risked his life for his brother, bro. He literally went into that thing, slaying. I'm telling you, bro, our people was really like this when it came to this war stuff. We think we good at basketball. We ain't seeing nothing. We think we good at football, or we good at track, or we good at boxing. No, we was real life skilled men. Like we was real life men of war though. We done separated from that though. We done strayed away from that war mentality that we had. But our men was literally something serious when it came to having a sword in their hand and straight fighting too. We were definitely that's why they come up with all these ninja movies. Martial arts started with us. It didn't start with Moab, the Chinese man, Japanese man. A martial law, I mean, it's like martial arts and just karate and all that started with our people. We the original. We create everything, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're the best at everything that we do. We got to come back to that mentality because our forefathers had it all. They literally had that war mentality and that spirit on them to not care how many soldiers the ops had. They didn't care how many soldiers they had. They knew they had the most high God on their side, and they really was always outnumbered. They was always outnumbered. When they went to war, because they was recruiting soldiers. They was recruiting soldiers from overseas, recruiting soldiers, strangers. They tell you that in the scriptures. We wasn't doing that. We wasn't recruiting soldiers. We wasn't going to ask people to help us. We was comfortable with the people that we had. And if brothers want to leave, that's cool. You go ahead and leave. We wasn't finna recruit nobody for you because we trusted in the Lord. That's the type of mindset we got to come back to, like our forefathers, the first Maccabees. These are some mighty, mighty brothers. This is mighty, mighty history, man. It's very important to know about this type of history when it comes to our people because we got to really dig into this book right here because they're not gonna tell us our history, and our history is all in this book. So we definitely hop into this thing and um and get into it and learn about our history. Hold on, I really want to pull this picture. I want you to show a video.
You want to show a
Matter of
video?
fact, yeah. We're gonna get the whole chapter. We're gonna get the whole chapter. You can get it. I'm gonna show a video on it too. A short video. We'll get the whole chapter.
All right. Um, 47. Howbeit, the rest of the Jews, seeing the strength of the king and the violence of his forces, turned away from them. Then the king's army went up to Jerusalem to meet them, and the king pitched his tents against Judea and against Mount Sion. But with them that were in Bethsura he made peace, for they came out of the city because they had no victuals there to endure the siege, it being a year of rest to the land. So the king took Bethsura and set a garrison there to keep it. As for the sanctuary, he besieged it many days and set there artillery with engines and instruments to cast fire, and stones and pieces to cast darts and slings. Whereupon they also made engines against their engines and held them battle a long season. Yet at the last their vessels being without victuals, for that it was the 7th year, and they in Judea that were delivered from the Gentiles had eaten up the residue of the store. There were but a few left in the sanctuary, because the famine did so prevail against them that they were fain to disperse themselves, every man to his own place.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's a famine going on. Everybody know what a famine is. A famine is, no food, no water. Like it's a drought. It's a drought going on right now. Basically, it's a drought
Con.
going.
At that time, Lysias heard say that Philip, whom Antiochus the king, while he lived, had appointed to bring up his son Antiochus that he might be king, was returned out of Persia and Media, and the king's host also that went with him, and that he sought to take unto him the ruling of the affairs. Wherefore he went in all haste and said to the king and the captains of the host and the company, we decay daily, and our victuals are but small, and the place we lay siege to is strong, and the affairs of the kingdom lie upon us. Now therefore let us be friends with these men, and make peace with them and with all their nation,
Mm,
and covenant with them, that they shall live after their laws as they did before. For they are therefore displeased and have done all these things because we abolished their laws.
mm-hmm.
So the king and the princes were content, wherefore he sent unto them to make peace, and they accepted thereof. Also the king and the princes made an oath unto them, whereupon they went out of the stronghold. Then the king entered into Mount Sion, but when he saw the strength of that place, he broke his oath that he made, and gave commandment to pull down the wall round about.
And that what
Afterward,
it's like that. What the scripture said. Never. You see, you can't trust these. You can't trust these heathen, bro. He literally came, and it's like I was trying to watch this video and also listen to you read, but um, you can't trust the heathen, man. They understood the reason why we was going through this because they understood the reason why they was going through this famine was because they turned us away from our laws, but they still turned their back on. They still turned on us, and he made an oath. He made an oath, man. And he broke that oath when he seen how mighty we was. He broke it. So just imagine you saying, "Okay, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna. Let's make a treaty with them. Let's team up with them." And then when you get there, you see how mighty it is. Then you be like, "Never mind, never mind. I need 15 soldiers over here. I need 25 soldiers over here. We're finna go in there." Like, bro, you just broke an oath. You just basically said that you were gonna do something, and you didn't do it. That's exactly what happened. He poured down the walls, poured down everything. What you got to be.
afterward departed he in all haste, and returned unto Antiochia, where he found Philip to be master of the city. So he fought against him and took the city by force.
Whole lot of crazy, whole lot of folly going on. Whole lot of folly going on, man. But Lord willing, Lord willing, this video was edifying through the spirit. I didn't want it to be too long. That's why I don't really stop and break down every verse, but I try to get in, try to tackle all of it though. But yeah, I like getting into it because it show you how our people was at one time when it came to war. But now, we lost that state, that type of mind state, that type of war mentality. We don't got that no more. We got to come back to that because it's in our blood. But you had some.
Connors want to get this. Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as an iron wrestler, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the lashing of my words, and be pricked therewith.
Right, so hey, never trust your enemies. Though they come at you talking about peace, though they come at you trying to make a treaty, then they could, though they come at you making an oath, talking all sweet, smiling, laughing in your face, shaking your hand. The Bible said, "Don't trust them, man. Don't trust them. Though they go crouching down, yet take good heed and beware of him." So the Bible letting you know, hey, though he go crouching down, though he trying to be peaceful with you and sending you all type of letters talking about peace, peace, peace. The scriptures say, hey, beware of him. Watch him. Just like how they did the Native Americans. They came with peace, peace, peace. They had war in their heart. So we definitely watch.
Um, it's John 15 and 13. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
There's no greater love than that, and we see that love all throughout First Maccabees, Second Maccabees as well too. But First Maccabees, we see how Eleazar, we see how he just laid down his life for his brothers. He literally risked his life for war. He knew that he probably was 9 times out of 10 he was finna die, but he didn't care though. He was trying to he was trying to go out for his brothers though. Hey, he slew an elephant. White. He slew an elephant on his way out though. He best believe. Hey, the Bible say he slew people on his right and on his left. So he done killed a good amount of people before he died. So he did his job, man. He left out like a real soldier of the Lord. And like I said before, he wanted his name remembered, and his name is remembered because now we remember him from the act that he did. So he got his name, man. Some people that did some stuff in the Bible that you ain't hear about their name. But hey, we heard about his name, man. So he got his reward. So that's all praises. LSR, man.
Khan, and this is a precept for what you were saying earlier. You know, the king, the Edomite, the heathen, he thought it evil for us. He was sick that we was overcoming. So it's a precept for this. Genesis 50 and 20. But as for you, you thought evil against me, but Yahweh meant it unto good, to bring to pass, as it is this day, to save much people alive.
Right. So they thought evil to us. That's exactly what happened. That's a perfect precept. But that king thought what his name was?
Uh, uh, Antiochus? Yeah,
Was it
Antiochus. Because his son was Antiochus too.
was it
No, I'm saying like he had a son named
yeah,
Antiochus, so he
was it
was Antiochus
was
too.
it
I'll double check though.
Philip?
No, Philip was the one that was up next. He was told, he was crowned and told to bring his son next.
Yeah, it was I think it was Antiochus. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, so King Antiochus died there.
Mm-hmm.
Antiochus. Fine.
Yeah. Hey, that man's hey, you gotta think about it. Like he literally was imagining wickedness towards our people. That's a perfect precept to describe how he was feeling. But as for you, you thought evil against me. So he thought evil against us. Oh man, my soldiers finna go out there and destroy those Israelites. They finna go chop Judas Maccabee's head off, chop his tongue off, and bring it to us. We're gonna hang it up. We're gonna celebrate. We're gonna drink. We're gonna party. We're gonna get married. We're gonna go kill all those Israelites. We're gonna take their women as slaves. We're gonna hang their babies. Better best believe he had thoughts like that. But it said, but as for you, ye thought evil against me, but Yahweh meant it unto good to bring to pass as it is this day to save much people alive. So Yahweh had other plans. It don't matter what the king was thinking about. Yahweh had other plans to um protect his people, to allow his
Oh,
people
sorry.
to get the victory. Right? Let me get this precept too. Give me Baba Kashah, Psalms 144 and 1.
Psalms 144 and 1. Blessed be the Lord my strength, but teacheth my hands to war and my fingers to fight.
Right, so man, David saying, "Blessed be the Lord my strength, which teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight." The Lord is a man of war. Exodus 15:3. The Lord is a man of war. So the Lord teach you how to fight. The Lord teach you how to use a sword, how to use nunchucks, how to use knives. The Lord teach you how to do that. So when you fight, and that's how men was fighting in these wars. The Lord was training them, was training their hands, was training their fingers. The Lord had that spirit on them to be able to fight like that. The Lord teach all things, right? But I just want to bring that precept out. That's a mighty precept going into war. That the Lord teach war. The Lord is a man of war, so it makes sense for him to teach his men of war with their hands and war with the sword, and war with whatever they use.
Come
Con. So did you have another precept?
on.
Con, man. So Lord, what this video is edifying, man. And I advise brothers and sisters um to look into their heritage, man. Look up the Maccabees. Look up Judas Maccabees. Look up First Maccabees. Look up this history, man. Just look into it. You have people talking about it all over. I'm not the only person that's talking about these brothers. You have heathen talking about them. You have a lot of people talking about them that's not in the truth. You have a lot of people that's talking about this that's in the truth. So these were some mighty acts that need to be spoke on when it comes to war. Like you talk about World War III. If somebody bring up war, they bring up World War III. No, man. This when you talk about war, you should always bring up this. You should always bring up the act of our forefathers. You know what I'm saying? Especially as them being so-called black men. This is an accomplishment. This is an achievement to know that your forefathers was this skilled when it came to war, and how the Most High was literally on their side and protecting them and watching over them the whole time. So Lord, when this video is edifying, and I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Shai, and do your research, keep searching. The truth is out here. You gotta just get it. Go get it. Dig it up. It's right there. Shalom.